Okay, everybody, welcome back. It's been a while. Holidays are over. Super cool, super good. I had planned on making some videos during the holidays, but I got really busy with family and my kids and everything, so wanted to give them kind of the best holiday I can give them with the whole COVID world situation going on. So I was more focused on, trying to make sure my son and my daughter had a great holiday together and great trying to get them taken care of with some stuff to do and some fun stuff. So I kind of took a little bit of time off, and then I was focusing on watching Worlds and stuff like that, and then they announced the new hero. So we got Oichi from Sengoku Basara, she's one of my favorite characters from that game, so I was really excited. And I saw she was a black hero, and honestly I don't play black very much. As you guys can see on my videos, I've never made a black deck video before. I've never really liked the play style, but I saw Oichi and I really wanted to give it a shot. And honestly, I've fallen in love with her as a character in this game and a hero in this game. She's probably overtaken every other character as my favorite hero. She's so much fun for me to play as. All three arts are different, but yet bring a variety in of using things like death effects, the spirit tribe, things like that, and it really is really cool. She has again, it came with the new set, the Battle of Amatsu no Kuni, which is a really cool set. I actually like a lot of the cards in this set. I think a lot of people are gonna say that it's not balanced and that black's dominating and stuff like that, but I do think this set brought in a lot of cool archetypes for once we get that rotation that I thought we were going to get when this set launched and we didn't get. I think it's going to be really cool meta once rotation sets in and we get rid of a lot of these cards that, combined with new cards, are just becoming too overpowered. Not saying I'm mad at this meta or upset at this meta. I think it's in a weird place right now. But I really do like it. I do like what I'm seeing. I'm having a lot more fun this season and this set than I did with the last set. But yeah, so this first deck that I've made for Oichi, it's called Spirit's Despair. I would put a way cooler name, but you really can't fit it in. It's her second art, which is Despair, Wail, and Perish. And this is a spirit build. There's another build out there that focuses on a lot of those cool like Gate, Uni, and all those, and Alfred and all that, those black 3 and 4 costs that really do it. I like the synergy that spirits have now, so I decided to make a spirit build. Again, the spirit build is just as strong. I've seen other players use it too. It's just as strong as the non-spirit build. It just plays a little bit differently. But let's see what Despair, Wail, and Perish does. Place 3 black units in your graveyard with an MP cost of 4 or less into the field and give all friendly units +1/+1. So you're going to see a lot now with this type of deck. You're going to see a lot of lower cost units, and we're just sacking them to the graveyard. We're doing damage. We're not caring if they go to the graveyard, because when I hit 28 AP, I'm bringing units back in the right situation to reload the board. But let's start out with what the deck has. Selfish Predation destroys a friendly back unit, and you get +7 health. Curse Zone is a synergy card with the spirits. Give 2 random spirit units in your graveyard -1 MP and return them to their EX pocket. I run it at 3. Every card in this deck is a spirit, so I can pull any card back, and you'll see at times it's nice to even pull, I'll show you the card when we're at the end, the Dark Whispers Oichi back as well. Bandit Spider is a new spirit. He has a death effect. Death, it gives a random spirit in your hand or EX pocket +1/+2. And you'll see there's a lot of spirits coming in and out of this deck. Yellow Imp, his death effect is he gives 1 attack to a friendly unit. I like that because he kind of buffs the field. You ascend over the top of him, bam, that unit could get buffed as well. I only run him at 2. I run 2 Dead Fish, and it destroys the unit in front if it has 4 HP or less. I kind of use them on those bigger units if they're coming in. I try to use them to chip and then take them out. Then I have Executioner Guardian in there. It's another spirit, and while on the field, all other friendly spirits gain +1 attack. I run him at 2 as well. 2 Bay Foxes are like the underrated, or not even underrated anymore. They're known. They're like the MVP of this deck. They have agility, and On death, they're removed from the game, but if you ascend them, they get +1/+1, so become a 3/5 on the board. And when they die, they're replaced with a non-ascended 2-bay fox. So you're getting 6 foxes for, if you ascend all 3, you're getting 6 foxes for the price of 3. New destroy card, Demon Hands. It destroys an enemy unit with 5 or less HP. I like this one because you could ship at those bigger units and then remove those higher cost units, I should say, like something like Shara can be removed. The new armor in green could be removed, or no, it can't be removed. I'm sorry about that. That can't be removed. But the higher cost cards can now be removed with this card if you chip them enough. Clay Drummer. And this is from the last set though, when a friendly spirit unit dies, give -2 HP to a random enemy unit. That kind of helps you to be able to remove them. And then there's these new spirits. There's Jiro. When a friendly unit dies, this unit gains +2 HP. So you just kind of put him out there when things are about to die. He becomes a 4 or 5, and then he just kind of gets rolling and becomes a 4 whatever if you can keep him out there. Saburo is the exact opposite. When a friendly unit dies, he gains +2 attack. I've gotten this guy up to like 15, to being like a 15/7, because people just kind of ignore him when he comes out as a 1/7. And my spirits below are dying and just pumping this guy up. It's pretty crazy. I only run 1 Blight. He's another spirit, and he has a shield. And when on his death, he is -2 HP to all enemy units on the field. That helps remove units. It helps get them ready for Demon Hands, things like that. I do run Powered Beyond Gods. I only run it at 1. It destroys an enemy unit with 6 or less MP. And if it has a high HP, you split that HP between your units and your hero's life, which is pretty good. You could run other cards in there. I'll show you guys. I also run the new legendary Curse Extraction. This card gains the following effects based on the number of times friendly units have died in this battle. If they've only died 4 times, give all friendly units on the field +2/+2 and destroy this unit after 1 attack. If you have 7 or more died, it also gives all enemy units -5 HP. And if you've had 13 or more units die before you use this card, it adds a third effect, which for 30 seconds your hero gains whenever a friendly unit dies. Deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Your hero gains life to the damage dealt. This thing is deadly in the right situations. Such a good card. Situational, yes, but when you drop it, you're dropping it for literally, that's your win condition. That is your win card. And then I couldn't make an Oichi deck without having her in the deck for my first deck. Dark Whisperer Oichi. She's a 10 cost, but while in your hand or EX pocket, whenever a friendly spirit unit dies, she gets -1 MP. It cannot drop below 1. There's times I've had her cost 1 MP. And when she attacks, she places a random unit in your graveyard with a cost of 5 or less onto the field, and its HP is 1. It lane blocks, it becomes an ascend target, things like that. It gives the effect off if you get Guardian out there. Also, but if you ascend her, she gets +1/+2, so she becomes a 4/10, and she brings a random unit from your spirit unit from your graveyard onto the field. So she has total synergy with this deck. So that's this deck. I have a sideboard I built that kind of works with spirits. We're going to scroll up here. So a sideboard is Curse. Return a random spirit unit from your graveyard to your X pocket. Just 1 and it costs 1. It's not bad. You could use Mad Massacre. Destroy a black unit and does 5 damage. Split amongst enemy units. Incense of Doom is kind of a situational card. If you're seeing a lot of people pull stuff into their EX pocket, you can use this card and send them all back to the graveyard. Deadly Resonance is another card you can use. It places a random spirit unit with a cost of 4 MP or less into the field, and it destroys itself after 1 attack, but it gets that death cycle going, gets a unit to block, etc. Spirit unit wise, you can use Poltergeist. Death, it gives 1 attack to a random friendly spirit unit. You could use him instead of Imp, but I use Imp because of the higher HP. Oops, skipped one. Thunder Ear. On death, it gives 3 HP to a random spirit unit. That's good as well. Thunder Doom Mirror is really good as well. It gives a random spirit unit with with an MP cost of 2 or more in your hand, -1. So it basically lowers cost of your spirits so you can keep them on the field, keep cycling. Very good card. I just don't use it in this deck. You could always use Fate of the Unworthy. Anything that's not ascended, that's 4 or less, you can destroy it and deal 1 damage to the hero. Prayer Slips you can use. I don't like the higher cost. I like Demon Hands better, but it destroys the 4 or less MP unit, which is fine because it could take out the Ascends, but still. Deceased Souls, you can use this instead of God's Power because it destroys a unit and places it infected in the board slot, so you can take out those very, very high units. Shara, some of the new legendary cards that are having the higher MP cost, so they avoid destroys. This one works really well. Betrayal always works. Destroy 6 or less, remove it from the game. All like it. The basic Oichi, she's pretty cool for this deck. If you have a slot open, when placed on the field, gains +1 attack for every spirit in your graveyard. She can become really buff. She's above most destroys, so it works out. Spider Queen is another one that's severely been underrated, but she's very good because on death, she places a random spirit unit with an MP cost of 5 or less into the field. So again, you're exchanging, when she dies, you're exchanging her for another unit, and she's also bulky enough to survive for a little bit. And then the last one is Cruel Game. Randomly destroys units on the field until both of you and your opponent have the same number. You use it when your field's empty, you wipe your opponent's board. So that's like some side cards you can rotate in there. I know everybody's going to say Rebels Memories. I don't use Rebels Memories. I don't even think I have it. Well, I do have it, but I don't think there's enough actions for me in this deck to really use it effectively. So here's the deck, and let's take a look at some games, shall we? So I know everybody says, how does this deck do against the older meta or things that are going to be meta? So here's the first shot. We're going to go up against GDI, which dominated the last meta. So I have a decent starting hand. I have Clay Drummer, Oichi, Dead Fish, a way to bring some units back, and a way to remove unit in case of trouble. So this is more of a response that I put Clay Drummer down, but I dropped Dead Fish to basically take out that Rashid right away. And I do apologize if I'm not going to be commentating on some stuff. Oichi goes really fast at some points, so there's that. He's going it right off the bat. I'm going to pull some spirits back. He's going to try to remove some units. He does. He gets good splits. I'm going to Dead Fish that Rashid again. Goodbye, Rashid. You're down 2. Thank you very much. As you can see, my Oichi's already down to a 4 MP, so I drop her right away. And you'll just see her. She gets to go to work now. She brings units back. He uses GDI. Yeah, he removes some units, but then I'm going to buff her up some more. And I already have... See how she keeps bringing units back, which is really cool. It forces him to play a little bit. So I'm going to let him play. And I got a really good split there that didn't really matter. It helped me keep units alive. I decide here I'm not going to use my hero art yet, because I want to get 2-Bay Fox on the board to do some damage and do some work. I send over the top of him because I was afraid he was going to die, and so I just keep going. And watch how this works. He removes them, but I got another 2-Bay Fox coming right at you to keep the pressure going. And now I have some destroy cards going, and I'm going to use Curse Extraction to basically remove most of his board. And then I'm going to use my hero art. I used it in the wrong order. I should have used the hero art first and then Curse Extraction. But it works out in the end because I have a full board. He has an empty board. He's almost out of MP. And his hero art's not going to work. The next game's against Ouroboros. As you know, they're very tough last meta with their... Pretty much this is going to be the same deck. And this is a good starting hand because you can't go wrong with having Bandit Spider in your hand. To open with Bandit Spider is great. Because no matter where he's put on the board and destroyed, he's going to power up something in your hand as long as you have another spirit. So again, he's going to be my first drop. And I drop 2-Bay Fox over him to power up a unit in my hand and stay on the board. As you can see, I get enough MP, but, you know, they always use that Destroy Timer one to get Shara, or not Shara, to give Gore to Sharu Magala. And 2-Bay Fox is a good kind of block for that, for at least a couple turns. And right now we're just exchanging, and I'm going to use, when they give me an opportunity to use free MP to pull spirit backs, that's when I'm going to use Curse Zone. It makes more sense that way, so that way I could drop as soon as they come in. You could also use it in a dire need. If you don't have any units and you have a Curse Zone in hand, you know you have them in the graveyard, just go ahead and use it. And as you can see, that these mindless destroy decks aren't going to work as much anymore because they're powering my hand. As you can see, I brought out Jiro at a 5/5, and I'm just buffing him and dropping cards, and we're going left and right here. As you can see, I can't commentate the exchange very well, but look at all those buffs I got on Blight. He's a 6/5 with shield. And if you destroy him, he does some 2 damage to the field, like to the enemy field. And as you can see, Jiro up top is a 5/11 just going. And you can use your art on the field and it still gives your people +1/+1. So now I have a 7/10 Jiro on the front, on the top lane, taking on a Tyrant. And I'm removing a unit to drop another unit, yes. But as you can see, Orochi's still there, but he's not as... with able to bring units back, he's not as deadly as he used to be. And now let's look at Raging Demon. This is another very good deck last meta that was very, very consistent and destroyed everything for the most part. But again, had a good opening hand. Again, you can never go wrong with dropping Spider anywhere. You want to save Blight for a block, and you can never go wrong dropping Imp because as a second unit, because he does buff. As you can see, he destroys my unit. Jiro gets buffed. He's now a 5/5. Dropping Blight right in front pretty much. I'm hoping he drops another unit before. And he does. And I was able to remove it quickly. And now I got a 5/7 Jiro on the board. That's just going to get powered up as as my own spirits get destroyed. And as you can see what happened, he's now a 6/5. He's kind of rotating through, staying alive, and just keeping pressure, making people drop in front of him. And at this point, I could just wait it out. There's nothing I need to do at this very moment to do anything. I dropped Dead Fish because I know I can send over the top and I want field presence. And I think he dropped an Akuma there, but I don't know why he would drop it there, because when Dead Fish died, he would remove it. Again, I'm just sitting here waiting at this point. He wants to pull off a card. I'm like, no, we're not going to let you dupe it. He dupes it anyways. All good. So we're just waiting here. And we're just going to play it out. I use my hero art. Clay Drummer becomes a 3/11. I have Dead Fish on the board. And I'm going to pull some spirits back out of the graveyard just as like an insurance run for when he wipes this board, because it's coming. Just as like a defense. And there's a text that came through. I apologize, but I couldn't get a better copy of the video. As you can see, I ascended the 2 Bay Foxes over top. And it activated Clay Drummer. And then he used his Raging Demon, which I don't think he really understood that 2 Bay Fox comes right back if he's ascended. And that's pretty much going to end the game. And again there, he used on an ascended 2 Bay Fox. There's another 2 Bay Fox on the board, you lose your advantage. Here is a game against the other version of this deck. The other version that's going around that's super strong, that uses that zombie type shell of gate, Yuri the zombies. It's just, here it is, 2 gates right off the bat. So I know this deck has been a lot more popular. So I was really glad to match it up with my spirit deck and kind of see where my version of the deck, even though I know the spirits are strong, don't get me wrong. The spirits are still a tier 1 version of this deck, in my opinion. So being able to play it out against somebody with the other version of the deck was nice to see. And as you can see, I'm in trouble here. I'm down 13-30. I got cards in my hand. I don't have enough MP. Like, I'm going to have to wait. If they drop field presence, I'm screwed. So right now, it's just as I have a chance to drop, I'm dropping. And I'm dropping units that are going to be beneficial at some point. Again, removal, but I'm like, no, I'm going to get some health back. I need it. He's going to use Alfred, which is fine. Now, I'm only down 10 now. And I decided I'm going to try to ride this out a little bit. I don't need to use my hero art right away. So I'm going to try to just ride it out. And then I decide at the last minute I'm going to drop and go. Again, I don't need to use my hero art, but at this moment I'm getting down, and then I decide to use it. And we have a 2 Bay Fox War going on up top. We have a Spider dropping in. He's run 3 deadly hands, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of deadly hands. I only run 2. I use Spirit. I use Curse Zone. And I get some good cards back with the death effects. And all of a sudden, I'm kind of starting to get that field presence. And I'm like, am I going to let you heal? No, I'm not going to let you heal. And then things get crazy again. As you can see, this becomes a very high-paced, high-action game. And the way I know I can survive this is if at the last minute I use that art to block the gates. And we're still going. Like, look at this go. We are still going. And I could have dropped Blight there, but I dropped Clay Drummer instead. And I'm kind of glad I did, because I saved Blight to block that Alexia if I had to. I ended up winning. Here's another one against Despair. And this one is actually a Spirits version, just like my own, just with a little bit of the different cards in that I put in my sideboard. They're running in their main deck. So I opted to try to go with a better starting hand on this one as well. And that's more because of knowing my matchup. I do want to be able to compete with board presence at this point. So we're going to just exchange spirit units at this point. We're just dropping and going. She uses an Orochi. I use an Oichi. You know, as you can see, Orochi still can run a board, but I keep dropping units in front of him. Like, I'm going to keep chipping you. And I'm going to drop units to protect at some point. And this is the best part about Dead Fish. I could have used Spirit Extraction there, but or Curse Zone. That's the best part about Dead Fish, is that I was able to take out Orochi a lot earlier. Right now, I'm just letting my units go to the graveyard, pretty much. And I use it for a block at the last second. And then again, some of the exchanges in this just get crazy. At this point, I decide, yeah, now it's time to go use that Curse Zone. I'm going to Selfish Predation just because I want to get my health back up. It's a little dicey at that point, so I'm like, okay. And I got a good hand here. I got a lot of spirits I could drop on the board. As you can see, they didn't have enough spirits in the drop zone or in the graveyard. I used drop zone because of Vanguard, but they didn't have enough under 4 in the graveyard, so they were not able to pull them back. Sometimes that's the detriment of using Curse Zone a lot. And again, I'm going for presence here. And because of his Clay Drummer, it still hurt. But I still have enough to get stuff going on the field. So we're just going to keep exchanging. This is a long game, by the way. And then I ascend to get even more presence and start pulling stuff out, sending him back to the graveyard. Let's just keep going back and forth. Why not? And then again, here he needs the field presence again, so he uses it. I don't need it at the moment. Excuse me, but I decided to use Curse Extraction to try to give me some advantage, and then I'm going to just drop units in front of it. Again, I could have used it the other way, but then I wouldn't have any field presence after that. And as you can see, you just exchange at this point because things are popping left and right, and Oichi, get out of here. He uses his own Curse Extraction. So now we're like getting tied up here. We're getting close. We're running out of time. I'm trying to survive 30 seconds without him popping off weird stuff. Now we're really close. I still have enough to use my art, so I do like a protection. And I notice we're running out of time. He's got presence, and I can get some health back. So I decide at the last moment, like, I am going for the health. And he's going to try to remove it, and I'm like, screw it, I can get one more in. And so I do. And it puts me in front. Our units switch. We have a full board again. Things are just crazy. He uses Curse Distraction. He's trying to bait me into using a Destroy. And I'm just slowing this down. I slowed it down when I originally recorded it. But he's going for, I knew he was going to go for the Selfish Predation because I was counting him all game. And so that's why I didn't use those destroys when I could. And I kept them in hand. And I had it for either one that he used it on. And so now he can't heal, and we time out. So that's one of those. And then the very last game is the game that got me into champ. It's against Hey Nico. Could be a good deck again this season. It's one of those that it's going to be like tier 3, tier 2, but it's not going to be like the top. It's going to be mostly depend on how you play it. Again, I had a good opening hand, and again, you can't go wrong dropping Spider. Even if he gets sealed, it doesn't matter. And I just kind of put a unit there to chip and try to get him ready for, hopefully I can pull a dead fish. But he's not letting me really chip. So I'm just kind of, at this point, I'm like, cool, I'm going to ignore the middle lane. And he halts us, so we're good. My 2 Bay Foxes are halted. He's just going to keep trying to power Godkar in the middle. So luckily he didn't pull any buff cards or have any buff cards on him. Stealing the 2 Bay Fox is okay. I wasn't going to have him either way. I'm eventually able to chip it out. But the power of Blight and Clay Drummer, I was able to clear his field and kind of get back some semblance of control in this game. I send a second right at the right second to kind of keep board presence and get Oichi on the board. And he right off the bat's just going to seal her, which is cool. It gave me a 4/6 on the board. Yeah, her effect wasn't there, but I have the hand, I have the buffs, I have my art, like we're fine. He drops Cammy, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna block a little bit, and then he's gonna shield. And I decided to do that on the bottom to one buff Jiro up top because I know he's gonna become tougher, and then also get some health back. And then I have my Clay Drummer on the field going up against this, but it's too late up top. I get the win. So that's the deck. Let's take a quick look at some hands, shall we? Okay, so in the Amaterasu game, I didn't mulligan because, one, I had 2 spirit units that were under 4 MP that I could place on the field. I had a way to bring them back if I needed to, and I also had Oichi if I wanted to wait till 10, but that wasn't anything in my goal. And I had a way to heal if I needed it. Again, this is a good hand to start with. You don't need to do much here. You just drop and go. Looking at the Wesker game, again, it's another really good starting hand. Like I said, you can never go wrong dropping Spider to start the game. You could ascend over him. If you pull another spirit unit, you could roll with it. You have a way to bring spirits back. You have a way to cycle through this opening hand. No need to mulligan here. Same thing with the Akuma game. There was no need for me to mulligan this hand. I had 3 spirits I could drop right off the bat. I had one I could send over, and I have a way to bring those spirits back. It's a great cycle game. You're good to go on this one. So, I could have played this hand. I really could have. But knowing who my opponent was with another Despair person that's going to be putting pressure on the field, I decided to mulligan. And again, I didn't have to. I have Clay Drummer and Blight. That's pretty much enough to control the field at this point and then bring them back. But I opted for an opportunity to have more drops and more units, and I got lucky, and I pulled something that I could put down at 10 MP of full field and then wait it out from there. So again, this hand was about knowing that my opponent's going to be dropping just as much units as I am right away, so I wanted to be able to counter that. Same thing with the Spirit game. I opened with this hand. Is it playable? Yes. Is it going to put me in a predicament? It might if I don't pull another Spirit after I drop the Saburo. So, see where I'm going with this? And then I mulligan to something that's way better. At 9 MP, I could load the field, and I could just, when a unit's about to die, or I could put 2 down, and when they're about to die, put out Saburo and get buffed up from there. So again, this one was more about knowing my matchup and how I can match up against the opponent's deck based on their hero art. And the very last one was the Nero playing Nico. Again, I have Spider in opening hand, and I have Yellow Imp that buffs. I'm not worried about this opening hand. It's easy for For 10 MP, I could load the field and just go. So it was a really good opening hand. That's why I played that one. But yeah, overall, that's the deck, guys. I'm really excited about this set. Next week, I'm probably working on a life gain green, and I'll talk about that a little more when I do it. It's a new kind of archetype that's playing out in green. So that's it. Take care, guys. I never say this, but like, subscribe, leave comments, hit me up on Reddit, Twitter, Discord, whatever you need to do. If you have questions, feel free to ask me anytime. Thanks. Bye.